Hello, my name is Aftab. Today, in our history lesson, we will read a book called The Romans. This is a book by Samia Gundkalli, illustrated by Beatrice Cerocchi. This is the second video in this series. We will today read further 4 chapters of the book. So let's start. Julius Caesar. As the Roman army proved its strength, many of the generals began to fight for greater power, especially in politics. One of the most famous was a man called Julius Caesar. Caesar was an impressive army commander who had conquered a region called Gaul. In 49 BCE, the Senate ordered Caesar to return to Rome without his army. On the journey, Caesar reached the Rubicon River in North Italy, which was the border between Rome and Gaul, and made a life-changing decision. He went against orders and crossed the river with his army right behind him, sparking a civil war in Rome. In ancient Rome, dictators had been appointed during emergencies and were given total control over the city. Once Caesar had arrived in Rome, he made himself dictator. He went on to make several changes to the government and did more to help poorer people in society. He also issued special coins, which many leaders often did to demonstrate their ambition to others. Caesar was also responsible for introducing the calendar that inspired the one we still use today. In fact, the English name for the 12-month all come from Latin, the ancient Roman language, and the month of July is derived from Julius Caesar's name. Yet, Caesar had made many enemies as dictator. His rule came to an end in 44 BCE when he was killed by a group of ambitious politicians thought to be jealous of his power. The end of the Republic. Julius Caesar's death sparked another bitter civil war in Rome. Octavian, who was Caesar's great-nephew, wanted to remove those who had murdered his uncle from power and establish rule for himself instead. He joined forces with Mark Antony, a Roman general and politician, and Lepidus, a statesman, to defeat Caesar's killers and end the war. At first, the 3 men decided to share their newfound power, but Octavian soon accused Lepidus of trying to form a rebellion against him and sent him into exile. Octavian had been in charge of looking after the western part of the Republic, and Mark Antony the eastern part. But the relationship quickly turned sour too. Mark Antony was accused of conspiring with Egyptian Queen Cleopatra, and Roman Senate eventually declared war against Egypt in 32 BCE. The following year, Octavian defeated Mark Antony and the Egyptians during a 10-sea battle fought at Actium, just off the coast of Greece. Octavian presented the Battle of Actium as his final triumph over Egypt and issued coins to display this victory to the Roman people. With this success, Octavian's path to power now lay clear. In 27 BCE, the Senate gave Octavian the title of Imperator, meaning emperor, and a new name of Augustus. Augustus had become the first emperor of Rome and the Roman Republic officially came to an end. The Roman Empire. The emperor ruled an empire which was a group of many countries. During his 40-year rule, Emperor Augustus helped transform Rome into the grand center of his new empire. He built new public buildings, theaters, and temples, ordered the creation of a postal system, and set up teams of firefighters and guards to keep crime at bay. He also ordered new roads to be built to replace the city's narrow streets. Roman roads were famously flat, straight, and well built, which also meant the soldiers, merchants, and traders could move around the empire more easily. A new system of taxes was introduced, as well as clearer laws around marriage and religion. Although many people still lived difficult lives of poverty, for many others, daily Roman life had begun to change like never before. Emperors were responsible for making sure their empire was seen as the most powerful, and as time passed, more land was conquered. Under Augustus' rule, the empire took control of areas in Europe, Egypt, and parts of what is now the Middle East. This meant that trading with other countries was easier and made the empire richer, especially for the wealthy elite ruling classes. The Roman Empire was at its largest around 117 CE. It is thought to have spanned around 2 million square miles or 5 million square kilometers, and over 60 million people lived under its rule. Huge numbers of whom were enslaved by the Romans. The conquest of Britain. The Romans had wanted to conquer Britain for many years in search of resources such as wool, silver, and gold. Despite two unsuccessful attempts during Caesar's rule, Emperor Claudius decided to invade Britain once more. In 43 CE, the mighty Roman army arrived in Kent and marched to Colchester, where they finally defeated the Celtic tribe that ruled Britain. In the 400 years that followed, the Romans established their rule in Britain. They built new roads, shared laws, and declared Londinium, the city we know today as London, to be the capital of the new territory. Hadrian's Wall was also built by Emperor Hadrian to protect Roman Britain from unconquered territories to the north. The ruins of the wall, which was 73 miles or 117 kilometers long, can still be seen today. An inscription was also found near a fort at Burr by Sands on Hadrian's Wall, known as Abalava to the Romans, describing an African soldier who had been stationed there. This shows that people from across the empire were part of the Roman army in Britain at this time. Boudica, the queen of Iceni tribe in eastern England, famously led a major revolt against the Romans around 60 CE. Furious that Romans had taken her entire kingdom for themselves after her husband's death, Boudica decided to fight back. Her tribe was eventually defeated, but the rebellion had posed a massive threat to Roman forces. With this video, We have completed further 4 chapters of this book. In our next video, we will read further chapter of the book. Until then, be good, be safe, goodbye.